Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aizat Farhan bin Muhammad Haris.
My name is Yuatika Nabila Abdi Shamsul.
And my name is Siti Nur Aiman Wajiha binti Syari. As of today, my group will be presenting our final year project proposal entitled Tax Mining on Cyberbully. Our group was supervised by Dr. Nurul Nisa binti Khairul Azmi. Without further ado, let us begin with the presentation. Once again, my name is Siti Nur Aiman Wajiha binti Syari and I will lead the presentation for background of study. As the whole world go through the big process of modernization, the development of information technology also keeps on increasing, and so does the popularization of the social media in today's digital world. Social media is now becoming a place where people interact with each other virtually and free to give their own opinions. But nowadays, people spend so much time using social media, scrolling the timeline, and left a comment and post that catch their eyes. If any of the post doesn't suit with their taste and opinions, harsh and offensive words is easily thrown to the user. And this is what we call as cyberbullying. Posting abusive messages, calling someone by offensive names, or even spreading fake news are considered as cyberbullying according to stopbullying.org. What makes this even more appealing to the perpetrators is because they can hide themselves behind the screen and anonymously attack other people with harsh words. The growth of utilization of the social media nowadays make it one of the most used platform of cyberbullying. Therefore, we want to conduct this study to recognize the common pattern of words used to cyberbully the victims in Malaysia on a well-known social media, which is Twitter.
My name is Aizat Farhan bin Muhammad Haris and I'm going to talk about the problem statement. In the recent years, the information technology IT has become more advanced and developed compared to the past few years, which is a good thing. But when there are too many people populating the IT world, it will become a lot harder to control each and every users, and without a doubt, will make the dark side of this, which is cyberbully. Cyberbully is indeed a bad thing, and if someone did become a victim of it, it will affect their life, turn their life upside down, and to the point that will make them feel suicidal. According to Ipsos, in the second row, we can see that the percentage of children in Malaysia that has been cyberbullied is quite high, which is 23%. We can also see that 71% of parents in Malaysia agreed that social media is being used as the main platform for people to cyberbully. So we are hoping that by studying the words pattern used by cyberbully, this can help people to fight this problem, which is cyberbully.
For the next content, which is the research objective, the significance of study, and also the scope and limitation to study, will be presented by me, Nurul Atika Nabila binti Shamsul. First of all, for the research objective, we have come out with 4 different research objectives that relate to cyberbullying. First and foremost of our objective is to identify the common word used to cyberbully in Twitter. These objectives explain on finding the common or frequent offensive words that have been used in cyberbullying tweets. Second objective is to classify whether the data tweets fall under cyberbullying tweet or non-cyberbullying tweet. Next objective is to recognize cyberbullying words pattern in which to identify a pair of the common words that has been listed correlated to each other or not. And last but not least, to find the relationship between keywords related to cyberbullying in the messages or in the data tweets. While for the significance of study, there are not much study that have been conducted related to textual analysis on cyberbullying in Malaysia. And because of that, this study intends to understand the cyberbully word patterns. This study will significantly contribute to the social media developer to improve the social media by filtering and censoring bad phrases that constantly relate to cyberbullying issue. In addition, this study also helps to improve the view of society's awareness concerning cybercrime. And at the end of this analysis, people of the society will be more knowledgeable of cultivating healthy connection with social media and perhaps able to control the cyberbullying issues. Moving on to scope and limitations, talking about how long is the study going to take. The study will be conducted in approximately 6 months of period where it will focus on analyzing and identifying any offensive word displayed on the Twitter platform. With some limitations in conducting this study, the tweets that will be collected are within the scope of Malaysia And unfortunately, since we are conducting a research in text mining, they might unable to work on a variety of phrases requiring more than sentiment word analysis and just simple evaluation. And in these cases, it may take a lot of time to complete the study. Moreover, the study could not interpret and differentiate between sarcasm or cyberbullying in the tweet because each of Twitter user have a different standpoint or a point of view when writing and explaining about their tweets. In closing, the study is limited to determine the pattern of common word use in cyberbullying among Twitter users, and it includes censored or informal language posted on Twitter. Subsequently, for data collection method, the data is first set up by gathering tweets from an application called Twitter, which has haphazardly posted tweets over recent half year, which is the 6 month. And then the data will be attracted into the R programming using Twitter's application programming interface, which is the API. The main step of this data collection in the study is to register or log into a Twitter account to obtain authentication in order to retrieve the data. Then the next step to make sure the Twitter package is available in the R session by installing Twitter package. Along this line, informational tweets containing the most well-known Malay language cyberbullying watchwords, for example, gemuk pendek, will be arbitrarily gathered. And once the data is collected and can be accessed through R or RStudio, the data is then pre-processed. Data pre-processing is imperative to guarantee the study have a superior informational collection and produce outcome with a high precision. Pre-processing include data cleaning, data transformation, data reduction. Data cleaning involves deleting incomplete data with missing or outlier values. Data conversion includes the work of changing the data to a suitable form in standardize the data, for example, converting uppercase letters or tweets to lowercase letters, and remove stop words or any emojis that have been written in the tweets. And at the same time, the data reduction is used to reduce the number of attributes to be included in the dataset by eliminating certain unnecessary attributes.
The first method is association rules analysis. Association rule is a common method used to find the frequent if-then patterns. It has been widely applied in various applications such as in healthcare, education, marketing, and of course, text analysis. It has 3 ways to measure association, which are support, confidence, and lift. By using support criteria under association rules, we can find the frequent item that appears in the dataset. According to Zainul, Wani, Nohuddin, Nurmansyah, and Marzuki 2018, support refers to the count of how frequent the keywords occurs in the dataset. In this study, we want to find what are the frequent Bahasa Melayu words that are always being used by cyberbullies in Malaysia on Twitter. The higher the support, the more frequent that keyword appears in the Twitter dataset. In order to perform association rule analysis in R, the A rules and A rules with package can be installed to the software in the first place. The calculation of support can be defined as a total transaction with both item A and item B divided with total transactions. Meaning, in simple, in this study, support can be calculated as the total of tweets that contains keyword A and B divided with the total tweets collected. Other than that, this study can visualize the frequent Bahasa Melayu keywords using network graph. This can be done by using A rules space. Next method is classification using naive Bayes. Classifier is known as tools that can classify the input data into which class it belongs to. There are a lot of classifiers with each of them provides different benefits. And one of the common type of classifier is naive Bayes. In this study, we will apply naive Bayes classifier, which is a supervised non-linear classification algorithm. It is known as a good classifier due to its simplicity of the algorithm, since it only uses text frequency to compute the posterior probability for each classes, according to Usamawati, D. Arafah, and Pramana 2019. Naive Bayes classifier gives a great result when we use it for textual analysis, according to Data Aspire 2017. This is useful in our study because we want to classify whether the data of tweets that we collect falls under the category of cyberbullying tweets or non-cyberbullying tweets. This is because it is difficult to identify whether the post that contains offensive and bad words have the intention to hurt others, or is it only meant as a joke or sarcasm. To use knife base in R, we have to install the related packages first. Some of the package are CLAR and knife base package.
In order to recognize the cyberbullying word pattern, which is the third objective in the study, an analysis of collocation will be carried out after the classification step of whether the data obtained will fall into cyberbully category or non-cyberbully category on Twitter. A collocation analysis will be performed using the R studio. A collocation analysis considered as a connection between two words that has been close to one another regularly. Collocation are not simply a vital idea for language learning, but also essential in studies involving many areas of research. While the anagram related to collocation, which means words that appear together. For example, bigram are the two words that appear in combination, and trigram of three words that appear frequently in combination. In particular, to generate the n-gram list, tweets of data must be loaded and split in separate words. For example, in the data tweets, kau gemuk pendek. Okay, so it will be separate individually, kau gemuk and also pendek. It reviews all sentences containing bigram and evaluate each pair of the elements. Stop words have been removed earlier in the pre-process stage, so filtering will be skipped in this step. In order to examine the co-occurrence of data, contingency table will be used. Okay, so the n-gram will be linked to a number of frequency observed and estimated where the frequency counts in the contingency table was suitably shown. For example, the 011 shows how often in the corpus bigram sequence A and B occurred, where 012 shows how frequently n-gram occurred without the B. The marginal frequencies are based on the total of number of n grid with n as a notation. And for the OPP, it is the sum of the marginal frequencies in the total. R1, R2, C1 and C2 is marginal frequencies which are named respectively to total of each row and column. The collocation has to be analyzed with accurate feature testing to identify the phrases that are more frequently. So we will find the p-value following the formula of the feature testing.
The last method of analysis is pairwise correlation analysis. It is used to find the relationship between keywords related to cyberbully, which is to see how strong it is, how significant it is, how closely related it is two words to each other. So according to Search and Robinson's in their study in 2016, they said that the data need to be turned into a wide matrix first before we are able to use the pairwise correlation analysis. But since we are using R, there are a lot of packages that can be downloaded, and there is this one package named WIDYR, and they say that this package will simplify the method of turning data into a wide matrix, and they will do this for us. So in pairwise correlation analysis, they will first calculate the phi coefficient. So what is phi coefficient? Phi coefficient is basically the same as Pearson's correlation. The only difference is that phi coefficient is applied to a binary data. So the formula for phi coefficient is as the formula above. So after the phi coefficient has been calculated, the result, which is the pairwise correlation function, will display the values from the highest correlation to the lowest correlation. To conclude, cyberbully is indeed a very serious problem that is happening across the whole world. So we have to do what we can to solve this problem. So this research can help maybe a future researcher to make their research easier, that can help to solve these cyberbully issues. So in this study, firstly, the data will be collected from the Twitter using the Twitter's API, and after that the pre-processing process will be done, the cleaning the data, which is to filter all the data. And after that has been done, it will only leave tweets that is in Bahasa Melayu. And after that, all of the research objectives will be fulfilled by using this method. The first objective, which is to identify the common word used to cyberbully in Twitter, will be solved by using association rules. Knife-based classifier will be used to classify cyberbullying words and non-cyberbullying word tweets. Next, collocation is used to recognize cyberbullying's word pattern. And lastly, to find the relationship between keywords related to cyberbullying in the messages, we are going to use pairwise correlation analysis. That's all from us. Thank you very much for listening and have a nice day. Bye bye.